Okay, so today we're gonna dive into the CBS News article.
All right.
ICE planning to ramp up arrests in major U.S. cities after Trump takes office, sources say. It's from January 2017,
Oh, wow.
right before Trump's inauguration.
Yeah.
And
You know, heady times.
it really kind of captures like all the anxiety
Sure.
around immigration, like right then.
Absolutely.
So we're going to try to like unpack this potential shift in immigration enforcement. What could this mean,
Yeah.
especially for people in these big cities?
Yeah, and it's really important to remember the political climate
I think so.
surrounding this article because, Trump's campaign,
Totally.
really focused on stricter immigration
Oh, yeah.
control. He was promising,
Yeah, he's going to build a wall.
increased deportations. And this from ICE,
Mhm.
like just days before he took office, felt like,
The first step.
like the first shoe dropping
sweet.
towards fulfilling all these promises.
Yeah. And they were citing unnamed sources within Homeland Security, which always makes it interesting. But, suggesting a significant increase in these ICE arrests.
Mhm.
So before we get into the impact of that, let's just make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
What is ICE? What's their role in all this?
Right. So ICE stands for Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
Wow.
And it's the federal agency that enforces immigration laws
You're through the U.S.
within the United States.
Sure.
So they are tasked with investigating, detaining, and
Okay.
deporting individuals who are in the country without authorization.
So this article suggests that ICE is getting ready
Yeah, gearing up.
for a huge surge in activity
Right.
and specifically targeting major U.S. cities.
Yes.
Which just adds another layer of...
Oh, absolutely. Right. Think about like the sheer scale of
Yeah.
New York, LA, Chicago.
Mhm.
These cities are home to
So many people.
diverse populations, tons of immigrants, both documented and undocumented.
Right, and so an increase in ICE activity in those areas is going to have a big impact on those communities.
agree.
And then the article touches on this idea of sanctuary cities.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain how those fit into this whole thing?
Yeah, so sanctuary cities are jurisdictions
Okay.
that limit their cooperation with federal immigration enforcement.
Interesting.
So, their policies vary, but in general,
Right.
they try to avoid actively helping IC
Okay.
find or detain these undocumented immigrants.
Okay.
So this often means local law enforcement
Right.
won't ask about immigration status during like routine traffic stops, or they might not honor these things called ICE detainer requests.
Got it.
So they're basically creating a more protective
Yeah.
environment for these undocumented immigrants.
So if ICE is going to ramp up operations
Yes.
in these cities that are trying to protect,
It's going to be a clash.
yeah, that's going to set the stage for some serious tension.
Absolutely. We could even see some legal battles
Oh, yeah.
between the federal government and these cities.
Right.
It could intensify the entire debate
Oh, for sure.
around immigration,
Yeah.
fueling protests
Wow,
and activism on both sides of the issue.
So, like, what about long-term consequences?
Yeah.
Like, what could this mean for individuals and families?
Well, it's hard to say for sure,
Sure.
but I think a surge in icy activity
Yeah.
could create a climate of fear and uncertainty in these immigrant communities.
Definitely.
This could lead to people being afraid to report crimes, to access healthcare, to even send their kids to school.
Wow, yeah. Hadn't even thought about that.
No, and the potential for families being separated,
Oh, yeah.
for people being uprooted from their lives.
Yeah, and their jobs.
Exactly. That's very real.
Yeah. This brings up so many questions about the human impact
Absolutely
of
right.
these policies.
Yeah.
So I guess the question to you is, what are your thoughts on all this? What concerns you the most about this potential shift in enforcement?
Well, this article really just kind of gives us a glimpse of
Yeah.
this complex issue. I mean, you could dig deeper into the different types of visas, understand the backlogs in the immigration court system,
Yeah.
explore the economic contributions of documented and undocumented immigrants. I think all of that is crucial for having a nuanced,
Yeah, for a complete picture.
a complete picture of immigration and its impact.
Okay, so this deep dive has really highlighted all the potential ripple effects
Right.
of increasing ICE activity, especially in cities.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about the impact on immigrant communities,
Yes.
the potential conflicts with these sanctuary cities, and just the general climate of fear
Right.
and uncertainty that this could create.
And as you continue to learn about this, I really encourage you to think about what role you think local communities should play in shaping immigration policy.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, and how can we make sure that any enforcement actions that are taken are done humanely and justly, with respect for everybody's dignity?
That's a great point to leave it on. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
Thank you for having me.
It's been great.
My pleasure.